What should everyone know about global warming in short? 1. Without the atmosphere, the Earth would be mostly frozen. It would have an average of minus 800 degrees Celsius. 2. The atmosphere keeps it warm like a blanket. The greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, water, carbon dioxide, and methane, absorb some of the infrared radiation emitted by the Earth, which would otherwise be lost in space, and send it back to the Earth. 3. The industrial era began 150 years ago. By burning fossil fuels, we powered engines and machines in factories and at home. 4. What happens to a piece of wood when it burns? Only ash is left. Most of it goes into the air as carbon dioxide. The same thing happens when we burn coal, oil, or gas. 5. The result? The amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere has doubled. The blanket, the atmosphere, has become more efficient, and we have overheated. Every square meter on Earth receives an additional 2 to 3 watts of extra energy. 6. The received energy has raised the atmosphere's average temperature by nearly 1.3 degrees. That's an average value. At the poles, the temperature increase is almost double. As a result, heat waves and fires have increased. Because the temperature differences between the pole and the equator have decreased, air and water currents have decreased in intensity. And the part closer to the equator has more atmospheric blocking patterns. Heat waves and droughts are more pronounced and last longer. But that's not all. A warmer atmosphere holds more water vapor, as we know from the sauna. That's why when it rains in the fall, it rains more. In Europe, we have more extreme weather events like strong storms and floods. Currently, over 80% of the energy used by human civilization comes from fossil fuels. If we keep going like this, in over 300 years, the average temperature will be more than 10 degrees higher, reaching levels not seen in 50 million years. Are we ready for something like that? I can't believe that. Conspiracy theorists say that global warming is natural, that it also happened at the end of the Ice Age. Guys, today, the Earth's atmosphere is warming more than 10 times faster than it did back then. I repeat, more than 10 times faster. You can see this in the graph showing temperature changes at the end of the Ice Age. In almost 10,000 years, the Earth warmed on average by just under 10 degrees. That means about 1 degree every 1,000 years. Let's look at the right side, where the horizontal scale has been enlarged more than 5 times. We see that today the Earth is warming by 1 degree in about 100 years. That's a warming rate more than 10 times higher. Do you think the Earth's atmosphere could warm up on its own at a rate more than 10 times faster? And right now in the industrial era? Now, when we know that humanity is doubling the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, when we know that carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas, let's look at the graph one more time. The warming rate today is 10 times higher than at the end of the Ice Age. This rapid warming cannot be a natural phenomenon. It is a direct consequence of the additional carbon dioxide put into the atmosphere by humans through industrial processes. It is now just as certain that humans have caused and continue to cause this global warming as it is that Darwin's theory of evolution is true, or that the Earth is a round globe. Go ahead and contradict me in the comments. I have 3 arguments on this, and that global warming is not caused by the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. The conspiracy theorists say carbon dioxide makes up only 0.04 of the atmosphere. How could it harm us? A poor argument. Well, even cyanide can kill you if taken in small concentrations. Carbon dioxide may be present in much smaller amounts than nitrogen and oxygen in the atmosphere, but it is a greenhouse gas, which means it works like an effective blanket. Nitrogen and oxygen are not. Thus, carbon dioxide returns some of the infrared radiation emitted by the Earth's surface and reheats the Earth. Without carbon dioxide and water vapor, though both are much less abundant than oxygen and nitrogen, we wouldn't have the greenhouse effect, and Earth's average temperature would be about minus 18 degrees Celsius. It's precisely because of these 2 greenhouse gases that it's warm on Earth now, even though their concentration is much lower than that of nitrogen or oxygen in the atmosphere. In fact, it's less known that carbon dioxide is very efficient. It absorbs almost all the infrared radiation within its absorption band. This was one of the mysteries of global warming in the beginning. If all the infrared radiation in that band is already absorbed and re-emitted, warming the Earth, why does increasing the concentration of carbon dioxide have an even stronger effect? Because of a subtle technical effect. The absorption band widens so that more wavelengths from the infrared band are absorbed. That's why it's hard to calculate Earth's warming on paper. Computer models are used. This result is confirmed by measurements. We're approaching 1.5 degrees since the beginning of the industrial era. But well, it's easier to ignore what you don't understand, to say that carbon dioxide isn't important because there's little of it. But how long can you deny it? Did you know that the process of global warming is already accelerating? The carbon dioxide in the atmosphere has already reached levels that were last seen only 4 million years ago. Without intervention, it's heading toward levels seen only 50 million years ago, when the average global temperature was 14 degrees Celsius higher. This will definitely happen in the year 2300 if we do nothing and continue emissions at today's rate. Where does this acceleration in global warming come from? Let's take permafrost as an example. It is soil that stays frozen for at least 2 consecutive years in Arctic and subarctic areas. Because of rising temperatures, permafrost is thawing, releasing methane, which is a greenhouse gas 30 times more potent than carbon dioxide, accelerating global warming. Boreal forests are those in the subarctic regions of the Northern Hemisphere, Russia, Canada, and Northern Europe. Because of global warming and extreme weather events, boreal forests are facing more fires. As they burn, they release large amounts of carbon that have been stored in them for centuries, worsening climate change. The Amazon rainforest is said to be the lungs of the planet because it absorbs a significant amount of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and produces oxygen. Because of uncontrolled deforestation and droughts, the forest is turning into savanna. The capacity to absorb carbon dioxide decreases, accelerating global warming. We're not even talking about the loss of biodiversity. It's sad. Because of ocean warming and acidification, coral reefs are facing large-scale extinctions. They are essential for marine life and protect coastlines from storms. Water in the Atlantic circulates between north and south due to temperature differences. However, the north is warming more than the south, so the temperature differences between the two regions are decreasing, and therefore the strength of these currents is also decreasing. At some point, they may even stop. Since the water currents in the Atlantic Ocean influence what happens, we expect more heat waves. We are prepared for all of this. That the Arctic ice could disappear during the summer months because of global warming? This is an example of a tipping point in climatology. It's like a rubber band. If you stretch it too much, it breaks. Even if we stop putting carbon dioxide and methane into the atmosphere, we won't have the same Earth as before. These tipping points are somewhere between 1 and 2 degrees of global warming. Today we're approaching 1.5 degrees, and at the current pace we'll definitely reach 3 degrees before long. That means by passing the tipping points, we're definitely snapping the Earth's climate like a rubber band. The Arctic Ocean, for example, could become almost ice-free during the summer within a few decades if greenhouse gas emissions continue at the same rate. That's because the Arctic is warming at about twice the global average rate. The phenomenon accelerates global warming because, without snow, less light is reflected back into space. The Greenland ice cap is melting at an accelerated rate. It is believed that in 2030 we may reach the tipping point. No matter what we do after that, it will melt completely. Consecința: the sea level will rise by up to 7 meters, flooding coastal cities, and the West Antarctic ice sheet is undergoing a similar process. It has already passed the tipping point. The collapse of this ice sheet will cause sea levels to rise by up to 3 meters. Simply put, it seems that we are past the point of no return. Certainly, the sea level will rise by 10 meters. This will happen in a few hundred or even 1,000 years, depending on the rate of warming.